Today on North American Hunter, a tale of two bow hunts. We go along with Bill Miller as he returns to bow hunting after nearly 20 years. He's targeting whitetails in the Black Hills of South Dakota. And we follow Mark Kaiser as he stalks mule deer across the rolling hills of Alberta.
I've been away from bow hunting so long, it surprised a lot of people when I said that I was going to take it back up again. I think the main reason that I've decided to take up bow hunting again is because I want to go back and experience some new firsts. It took less than a few months, and I think I'm ready to go out and try to arrow, believe it or not, my first ever deer. I'm confident now out to 30 yards, but on a real live deer, who knows, it could all fall apart. But that's what I'm here to find out.
Whitetail hunters definitely have an advantage over mule deer hunters because in most instances, the deer come to you. Now, if you're stalking open country mule deer, get ready for a real hard hunt. In fact, you might just want to second guess your decision to hunt deer because you're going to be covering a lot of ground. Mule deer evolved in an open country environment. Now, because of that, they really trust their eyes, and that gets them in a lot of trouble when you're standing there with the rifle. With a bow and arrow, it's one of their biggest helps because they're looking around their environment and they double-check everything with that second glance to make sure whatever's chasing them is really out to get them. You don't pull off a spot and stalk mule deer hunt by just running in, walking up to them and shooting them. A stalk could probably, on average, take between 1 to 3 hours. And when you get there and the shot isn't right, you're probably going to have to wait for him to stand up. Then you've got to decide, should I make him stand up or should we just wait the deer out and let him stand up on his own? That's where the patience, again, comes into play. If you can pull these three elements together, good terrain, having a little bit of cover noise, and obviously the wind in your favor, and use all the patience you have, you should be able to pull off a successful mule deer stalk in good country in a 3 to 5 day hunt.
You know, in 25 years of rifle hunting and not bow hunting, yeah, but I admit it, maybe I've gotten a little sloppy on some of the things because I know that I don't have to be within 30 yards of the animal. Now that's all going to change. I decided to come out to the Black Hills in South Dakota where I do a lot of my own personal rifle hunting simply because there are so many deer out here right now and hopefully get one inside of 30 yards, and that's what I'm going to set out to do here. The spot we picked for this morning was pretty much based on the results we saw in the cuttybacks. We saw that deer had been moving into this bedding area at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and we would be able to get in there after daylight, but still hopefully well ahead of the deer.
Our first day in Alberta turned out to be just classic mule deer hunting. It took us a while to find the right buck in the right setting to stalk, but it wasn't long before the chase was on. We had spotted a big muley up under a shady little brush tree. It took me more than an hour to get in on top of him, but believe it or not, and I still can't believe it to this day, I cut the distance down to 37 yards. Unfortunately, he was bedded in a slight depression in tall grass. No way for a shot. So I sat there and waited it out, and waited, and waited, and the deer got up. but he did not just stand up like I'd hoped. Instead, he got up, bounded around the bush. My mind went into overdrive trying to compute distances now that things were changing, and he stopped, looked back, and gave me one opportunity for a shot. I didn't know the range. I estimated that he had went about 10 yards further, cut loose the arrow. Did I misjudge? Probably. Did he duck the arrow? Maybe. Didn't matter. I missed the buck, and he went up the hill and took off.
Meanwhile, on his hunt, Bill's got some challenges of his own.
With bow hunting offers nothing else. It offers a lot of time to sit and second guess yourself. And I was doing a ton of that in the time we were spending in the blind the first couple days hunting, because we weren't seeing very many deer. And to be honest, all of those memories from 15, 20 years ago started to rush back about why I gave up bow hunting. There are long periods where there aren't action. The pressure was on. The end of the season is coming up very, very soon. We're hunting the last 2.5 days of the season. That's all the time we had. So we needed to get out here and scout, find the deer, try to pattern them in a very, very short time.
North American Hunter is brought to you by Federal Premium Ammunition. Every shot counts. Gander Mountain, we live outdoors. Matthews, catch us if you can. Mossy Oak, it's not a passion, it's an obsession. Game Hide, makers of the Freedom Sleeve. Hunting wear is all we do. And Nikon, the trusted name in optics. Bill Miller is waiting for a deer to come his way. Mark Kaiser is slowly moving in on his. Bill hunts the hills, while Mark roams the plains. Even though one sits and the other stalks, their goal is the same, getting a deer into range of their bows.
There's nothing like being eye to eye with a whitetail, right in their element. When I can pull it off and be on the ground, bow hunting and have that animal within 25 yards, to me that's as cool as it gets.
Any hunt with a bow and arrow is challenging, but when you're the one moving on a stationary object, trying to cut the distance in, a lot of things can go wrong at the wrong time.
You have to be willing to put in a lot of time. It takes a lot of different stalks in order to get in close enough to get a bow shot. We try our best to get you within that magic distance where you can tag something with your bow.
Our second stalk was classic because we had to do a lot of maneuvering on this buck. He was in a peanut gallery full of does and other bucks. We ran right into a roadblock of deer and deer eyes staring us down. Finally, after more than an hour and a half of hiking, we had gotten to within 100 to 150 yards of him. I still didn't know how I was going to cut the distance, though. A storm was coming in fast, rolling off the front range of the Rockies. So I knew I had to just cowboy up and go, and that's what I did. I kicked off my shoes, went down to my bare socks, and just hauled across the prairie to get to that buck. Now, across the hill from me was guide Mark Cooper, and he knew if he positioned himself on the far side, could give me hand directions, it would not only speed up the stalk, but put me into a precise position to get the shot. I felt good, even though there were a lot of eyes watching me, and I took off. Would you believe it? Those deer, all of them, including about 8 or 9 bucks, let me walk right by them. Within 100 to 120 yards, Mark was still giving me directions that the deer was right in front of me. I come up to the ridge, started peeking over. No deer. Edged up a little further, peeked over. No deer. He had gotten up and started feeding down the hill. Now that wasn't all bad. Rangefinder said 30 yards. I got ready to draw, and it was like an explosion of deer with a nuclear force, and his nerves couldn't take it. I tell you what, my luck on mule deer was not getting any better.
Now it's Bill's turn to try his luck.
The end of the season is coming up. It's going to be the last day, December 31st, and going to be my last chance to bow hunt this year. We only had 2.5 days to hunt. The vantage point of that tree stand offered an opportunity, obviously, to see in close where the deer were going to be when I'd be able to get ready and take the shot, but it also offered a vista across the valley on the hill above my cabin. There's an opportunity I see in bow hunting to go back and be an excited kid all over again, to experience the first deer with the bow. The deer got in close before I realized it. The pines and ironwood is fairly thick in there, and all of a sudden, there they were, practically in range already. But they're so used to coming into that bedding area, and the wind was perfect for the situation, they had no idea that I was up in the tree. So it gave me time to get my bow in my hand, get the arrow knocked, get the release on the string. And then they started moving, feeding into the wind, which was perfect, moving along just fine. Slowly made the turn. Then the big doe got behind a pine tree, and I thought, perfect, my opportunity to draw. So I came to draw. She stepped out, but it wasn't a clear shot yet. She kept moving, and then she stopped behind the big ponderosa pine in front of me. That tree was 14 yards away, and she stopped. And I'm there at full draw with 85% let off on the adrenaline. It isn't that hard to hold, but when the adrenaline's racing inside of you and that deer is there, it gets tough. I held as long as I could. She wasn't coming out, so I went down to relax draw again. Waited. Finally, she stepped out from behind the tree, and now she was less than 14 yards away. The 2 deer with her were unconcerned, so she wasn't spooked. I came to full draw, and the arrow went exactly where I needed it to. So bad. That felt really good. First deer in the bow. Simply an adrenaline rush, even if it's not a great big rack buck. Going back and experiencing those first is, it's fantastic.
Coming up, is your bow's stabilizer really worth its weight? Dave Maas helps you figure it out. Plus, what does golf have in common with air rifles? Bill Miller has the answer when we return.
Today's high-tech bows have lots of different accessories on them, and if you're new to bow hunting, you might be wondering, do I really need this one? It's a stabilizer bar. Stabilizer bar does 3 things. It adds weight to the bow, makes it a little bit heavier. It helps the bow balance in the hand of the shooter, and it also absorbs vibration and noise when you take a shot. All 3 of those things work to help you shoot more accurately. It makes the bow more forgiving, especially in the heat of the moment when you might not release just perfectly and you've got a lot of clothes on. Perhaps the best way to know that a stabilizer bar does give you much better accuracy is look at target shooters. They use stabilizer bars that are 2 feet, even 3 feet long. They do that because they can shoot more accurately with it. This particular stabilizer doesn't weigh a whole lot. It weighs about 4 or 5 ounces. And for me, it just perfectly balances this Matthews Adrenaline bow, and I know from practice that it definitely makes me a more accurate shooter.
The following products have been field tested and approved by members of the North American Hunting Club. This Mossberg 3-blade hunting knife features a wood handle and stainless steel blades. It includes a 5-inch Skinner blade, a straight edge with gut hook, and a bone saw, each with its own lock. The Predator Pile Attractant smells and tastes like a carcass gut pile with an aroma that lasts for days. It's formulated to attract fox, coyotes, bobcats, and bears into shooting range. To find out how you can become a field tester, visit huntingclub.com. Our field testers get to keep everything they test.
Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I am not a golfer. I shoot competitively. I train and compete Labrador retrievers. I hunt whitetails and turkey. The one thing I don't need in my life is more frustration. That said, I know that golfers carry a bag full of different clubs around the course because each club is specifically designed for a different kind of shot from a different distance. The same holds true for air rifle pellets. Gamo makes different kinds of pellets for different kinds of air rifle shooting. Anytime you're in the backyard or even in the basement just plinking, then a plain old lead pellet is best suited to the shot. If you're in a hunting situation that requires serious speed, you must step up to Gamo's gold-covered ballistic performance alloy pellets called the Raptor. These specialty pellets are extremely hard and lighter in weight, boosting velocities to unbelievable levels when fired from one of Gamo's premium adult air rifles like the Hunter Extreme. Yet other hunting situations require maximum penetration at maximum distances. To meet this need, Gamo's introduced the new rocket pellets. These employ an extremely hard steel tip encased in a lead alloy body. The hard tip ensures no deformity and maximum penetration, while the heavier body helps retain energy. While the rocket pellets won't start quite as fast as the Raptors from the same rifle, they carry more energy further down range, ensuring maximum penetration and ballistic upset on the target. These are the pellets to use when you're reaching out to squirrels in the treetops. Lead, Raptor, or the new rocket. Gamo's got its bag full of pellets for every purpose.
North American Hunter is brought to you by Ranger. See it up close at your local Polaris Ranger dealer. Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker. Quebec, providing emotions since 1534. Wildlife Research Center, America's top brand for scents and scent elimination products. Cuddy-Back Digital, faster trigger speed, longer battery life. And by these other fine sponsors. Some of the best experts in the game. Take the shot or let it walk. Thompson Center presents You Call the Shots.
Appears we've got a situation here where it's probably late winter, late season, somewhere in the Midwest, hardwood, leaves are off, snow on the ground, and a big white-tailed deer.
He's moving through.
Big 5x5 looks like.
Now, Larry, how would you stop that deer right now?
Over the years, I've watched deer a lot move in like this, like they've got a certain place they're going to, and I used to try all kinds of grunts and all this thing, but one thing that I've learned over the years is to use a snort wheeze and just go, and generally that's going to stop that deer. Or if he's just been a fight and lost, he's going to turn around and run off crazy.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when you use a grunt call or whatever and nothing works to stop that deer, that snort wheeze will stop him long enough to where he'll turn to look to see what buck is challenging.
Well, there's a lot of different ways to get it to stop. Sometimes you can just simply yell, hey, and they'll stop. However, regardless of what you do, you need to make sure you're ready to take that shot when you make that noise. Because what you're doing is you're alerting that deer as to where you are. Up until now, they had no idea you were in the stand. But as soon as you make some sort of noise, it's going to grab all their attention, and they're looking right at you. You have a split second to get that deer.
Now, would you take that shot even though you've got a little bit of leaves and limbs in the way?
We're at 44 yards, and if you look just about where you want to place that bullet, where I'd want to place that bullet, right behind the heart, in that heart and lung area, there's an open path.
There is.
One thing I noticed on the footage is he does not have a scope on this muzzleloader. It looked like he had a peep sight on the back, so that complicates things a little bit.
It does. It does. For me, it's a shot that's an impossibility with open sights. But I think for somebody that's used to shooting at an open sight gun,
40 yards away.
40 yards,
Yep.
and with a peep sight,
Yeah.
I think it's a very doable shot.
I'd take that shot.
Would you take the shot, Dave?
I'm a little bothered by the brush, and I don't think the brush is all that close to the deer, so I'd wait still. Perhaps I'm a little more conservative than most people would be, but those look like they're oak branches, and that's going to throw a bullet off, so Personally, I'm gonna wait right here.
Cloud of smoke, the deer kicked. Would you go after him right away, or would you wait?
You know, he looked like he was hit really hard. I'd probably just listen and collect my thoughts and replay everything in my head, and then I'd probably go and look at the blood trail and see what.
I agree. I'd probably wait 5 minutes, maybe 10, climb down. I'd reload just in case, and that's going to take another couple of minutes, and then just slowly take up the track. You got a little bit of snow, but I don't think that deer fell any more than 100 yards away from where he took that bullet.
I don't think he went very far either.